Alright everyone, welcome back to Agitation Rising. We're going to continue to cover the Taylor Brown story. Remember, the whole reason Taylor Brown was at the Normal police station, where her phone was illegally seized and she was arrested, was because there was a fire at her house earlier that night. So one of the other huge questions around this case is, who started the fire? Well, now, Brown's former roommate, Ashontis Davis, makes bombshell allegations claiming Brown started the fire. Davis chose to speak out after over a month because she saw Miss Brown becoming the victim. Davis and two other women living with Brown were homeless after the fire. So let's go back to Wednesday, February 8th, 2023, at 208 Park Trail Road in Norma, Illinois. The duplex had 4 young women living there. By the next day, all 4 of them were homeless, and the home was unlivable because of a blazing inferno. One of the women is Taylor Brown, who, as we mentioned, recently filed a federal lawsuit against the Normal Police Department alleging she was falsely arrested, illegally had her phone seized from her, and was battered by Normal police officers the night of the fire. After Agitation Rising released the video and it went viral, many of the comments instantly came to Brown's defense. At the same time, almost nothing is known about the fire that occurred the same night at Brown's residence. Again, the reason Brown was at the police station was to be interviewed about said fire, and Brown came down willingly. The only thing the town of Normal has said regarding the fire is this one Facebook post. However, one of Brown's roommates has come forward to talk to Agitation Rising about the alleged events at her home which led up to the fire. Ashontis Davis says she lived at 208 Park Trail Road since 2021.
Like I said, I've been in this house for a year and a half. Is an amazing landlord. Like, he's very flexible. The rent was way below market. Like, I love that house. I truly love that house. Like, everybody knew that I love that house.
Davis had to get new roommates for her 4-bedroom house so she could afford to stay there. One was Miss Brown, who moved in about 1 month prior to the fire. 2 other women lived in the house. One did not wish to be named and declined an interview with Agitation Rising. She was not in town the night of the fire. The other has not returned requests from Agitation Rising for an interview. Since she has not consented to be named, she will be referred to as Z to protect her privacy. Agitation Rising has spoken with the property manager of the domicile, who confirmed that all 4 women did in fact live in the house as of February 8th, 2023. The manager did not wish to be named, and they declined to provide the estimated damages to the house. Taylor Brown and Z were friends for years since high school at least. The friends is in quotes because, according to Miss Davis, Brown was abusive and manipulative towards Z, constantly putting her down. The drama began on the night in question over a planned trip to Puerto Rico involving Brown and Z. The trip was planned for just a few days after the fire occurred. According to Davis, Z no longer wished to go on the trip because she did not feel safe around Brown. In a conversation involving the 3 women, Z explained to Brown her reasons for not going on the trip. The Airbnb they had scheduled was under Z's name, and she wanted to cancel the reservation because she did not trust Brown. According to Davis, Brown was furious with Z for putting her vacation in jeopardy. Allegedly, Brown felt betrayed by her best friend and began cussing Z out. The conversation got so heated that Z retreated to her room, the very same room that hours later would be the site of an inferno, leaving the 4 roommates homeless. She locked the door behind her.
She's on the phone with her mom. I'm still downstairs talking to Taylor, trying to calm her down. I'm basically trying to be like a peacemaker. You know, like, we're all living together. Like, I just want everybody to be on the same page. Like, I don't want everybody there. I don't want there to be tension or anything. So I was just trying to play, like, just trying to find a solution to this where everybody will be happy.
Eventually, Davis went up to the 2nd floor to speak with Z one-on-one. The 2-story duplex contains 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom on the 2nd floor. Brown, Z, and the unnamed roommate's rooms were up there. Davis's bedroom was downstairs in the basement. Davis said she was sure a compromise could be reached and that this would all blow over. She didn't think it would be a big deal, she said to Agitation Rising. But a big deal it became. According to Davis, as she stood outside of Z's locked bedroom attempting to talk with Z, Brown stormed up the stairs. Both women were outside Z's locked door, attempting to talk with her. Davis says Brown was continuing to be threatening and aggressive towards Z. Z agreed to let Davis in, opening the door for her and locking it afterwards. Davis stated that Brown did not cease her vitriolic behavior. Brown questioned Z's intestinal fortitude for not speaking with her directly.
She was a very sweet girl. She truly just feared for her safety, honestly. And so me and talking a little bit, we weren't even talking for maybe 60 seconds until we heard Taylor trying to unscrew the lock on the door. Like, she was trying, while we were in the room, she was trying to unscrew her doorknob so that she can force her way into the room with us. And so that's when I opened the door and I'm like, Taylor, like, stop, like, you're doing too much, like, let us just talk, you don't have to do all of this, blah, blah, blah. The door is, like, open because I'm standing in the doorway trying to tell Taylor, like, you know, back off, it's not, like, stop trying to force your way into her room, I'm just trying to talk to her. Taylor's pissed, she's yelling, she's saying a bunch of vulgar things, and at this point, Taylor is continuously threatening her, saying that she's going to beat her ass if she cancels this trip. There was one time when she said she was going to bash her head into the wall. There was one time she said, you know, if I didn't have this love for you as my best friend, I would have been hurt you, like, just crazy stuff. I ended up calling the police. So as I'm calling the police, I'm just like, okay, I am out of my depth here. Like, I'm trying to be the peacemaker, and this is going too far. So I decide, you know, I really cannot be a part of this anymore. I don't want to be. I just can't. Like, this is going too far for me. Yeah. This is y'all best friendship. She's calling the police now. I'm going to exit this room, and I'm going to go back to my respective room and let the police figure this out. So as I'm leaving out of my room, Taylor forces her way into the room as I'm leaving out. So Taylor forced her way into the room. She runs up to pulls out a knife that she had somewhere on her dresser. Taylor, like, hems up against the wall, cursing, screaming, yelling at her face. She has the knife, so I run back into the room and get in between both of them, because at this point, like, I don't know if my friend's about to stab her. I don't know if Taylor's about to hit her. So I just, you know, put my safety and just got in between both of them, and picked Taylor up and forced her out of the room, carried her out of the room.
Then there was a knock at the door. 3 normal police officers responded around 9:50 p.m. Officers Kylie Hepler, Officer Ian Briggs, and Officer Deontu Armstrong. Davis let the police in. The police separated the 3 women and talked with each other for about 30 minutes. Davis does not know what Z told the police officer. A heavily redacted incident report gives clues about what the police saw and did. Because all names were redacted, we can only assume who is who. All requests for body cam footage were denied by the town of Normal. Officer Hepler claims that he ran to the second floor after hearing yelling. A woman that we can assume to be Z appears to have been on the ground next to her bed crying and still in possession of the knife. Officer Hepler had to grab who we can assume is Miss Brown's arm to prevent her from moving towards Z. According to the report, he told Brown to go downstairs and speak with the officers there. He then got Z to put down the knife. The officer noted in the incident report that Z was not holding the knife in a threatening manner. All 3 officers elected not to arrest anyone because of conflicting stories. For some reason, Z agreed to leave the house for the night and stayed with a friend in Peoria. Officer Hepler noted in the incident report that Z locked the door before she left in her vehicle. The officers then left, leaving Taylor Brown and Ashontis Davis in the home.
At this point, in retrospect, I wish they would have locked Taylor up, because we would not have been here now.
Both women retreated to their respective rooms. Taylor on the second floor, Ashontis in the basement. Davis then began talk to a friend over the FaceTime app, which includes a video view. Agitation Rising interviewed the friend under condition of anonymity. They stated they had been in Miss Davis's room before, and that during the FaceTime conversation, Davis was in her room in the basement of the residence. A fire alarm upstairs began wailing. Davis initially did not think anything perfidious was occurring. She stated the alarm is very sensitive and sometimes goes off simply because of steam from a hot shower. However, the alarm continued for much longer than normal, according to both Davis and her friend who could hear it over FaceTime. Davis walked upstairs to investigate what shenanigans were about.
When I come up the stairs, I reach around, I peek my head around the banister, and I'm like, hey, Taylor, you okay? She's like, no. And that's how she says it. And she runs back and forth. I'm just like, so I slowly come up the stairs, and I see Taylor inside of my room with a pot of water, and there are 2 flames. There's one flame by the door, and then there's one flame on Mary's bed. And I'm just like, what happened? Taylor, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And she just kind of lost her words. And so she was like, help me. And so I ran downstairs. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I didn't think to find a fire extinguisher. But for some reason, I thought to grab a 32 pack of Sam's Club water, thinking that we can is so stupid. Thinking that we can open every water bottle and like pour the water. Like, I don't know. So I grab the case of water and I run back upstairs, and then I see the flame again, like for the first official time, because Taylor isn't standing in front of it. She's in the bathroom trying to get more water at this point. Okay. And so I see and I'm just like, this is too big. Like, there's no way in hell we can put this out with water bottles and water in a pot. So I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. I'm still on the phone at this point, too. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. I'm like, Taylor, what the hell? Like, put your clothes on. We can't put this out. Like, did you call the fire department? Like, what is going? She's not really responding. I don't know what the hell's going on in her head. She's not really responding. I'm just like, Taylor, like, come on, we have to go. Like, it's smoke filling everywhere. It's getting harder to see. So I run downstairs. I didn't really have much clothes on. So I run downstairs. I grab a jacket. I put my clothes on. And I run outside. And then I notice Taylor is still not with me. So I run back upstairs. I'm like, Taylor, let's go. So she's finally putting her clothes on. She finally stopped trying to put it out. She put her clothes on. And I run back downstairs. Then I noticed that I peeped that when I asked Taylor did she call the fire department, she never responded.
According to Davis, the aforementioned unnamed roommate had a pet rabbit. Davis then entered the house again to rescue the rabbit and brought it outside. Upon walking out of the house for the final time, rabbit in tow, Davis looked Taylor Brown dead in her eyes and said,
"You set that fucking fire, Taylor. You set that fire, Taylor. Why the fuck would you do that? Why would you set our house on fire? What is wrong with you?" She's like, "Shay, calm down. Shay, calm down." And her reason for literally, I remember she told me that I should calm down because they're going to think that I did it. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I was downstairs asleep. You were upstairs in her room. You set that fire, like...
Police and firefighters arrived on the scene at 12:32 a.m. The damage to the house has made it unlivable. Every room either has water damage or smoke damage, as can be seen in these photos obtained from an anonymous source. NPD officer Serena Cunningham escorted both women to her squad car to warm up. This is the same officer who hours later would forcibly take Taylor Brown's cell phone from her with no warrant. Davis believes Officer Cunningham was doing everything she could to make them as comfortable as possible after such a traumatic event. While in the police vehicle, Davis states that Brown was on the phone with her mother, who is a Chicago police detective.
I'm sitting in the car with Taylor for maybe at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half. We were there for a while.
Okay.
And she's kind of just spilling the beans. Like, I'm sitting here quiet because I know at this point this is an arson case. Inside of the police car. And Taylor had admitted to forcing her way into his room. She said she forced her way into Well, she said that she pushed the door and it just casually opened. But we all know that wasn't true because I helped install that lock on her door and it was not that easy to open. Forced her way into the room. She said that her story was she was putting clothes, because they commonly shared clothes. So she was putting clothes back into his room. She said she casually threw some clothes. She casually threw some clothes on her bed and on literally where the fire was. She admitted to throwing clothes into those spots. She said she didn't light anything. And then here's another big thing. She said that she put a candle in her room. She put the candle back. So like I said, she's telling this entire, like she's admitting to forcing her way into it. She admitted all of that in the police car.
Furthermore, Davis alleges that Brown admitted to putting one of Z's candles in Z's room. Davis says the candle was a gift to Z, and Z never burned it, using it only as decoration. Davis was adamant that Z's candle had always been on a small wooden table outside of Z's room. Brown verified the above statement regarding the candle in direct messages with her other roommates. Quote, "I moved Z's candle to her room, which we all knew was in the hallway."
And Taylor was trying to build a story, basically. I don't know if I was really getting a feeling that she wanted me to join in on this story that she was creating, that she was fabricating, honestly. Taylor's like building this story. She's like, Shay, didn't you see the extension cord in her room? And I was like, yes, she does have extension cord in her room, but I don't think that's what said it. She's basically trying to reason with me. She's like, Shay, she's trying to get me on her side. And at that point, I was like, Taylor, I want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you until I talk to the police.
Davis was removed from the car and spoke to the fire investigator. She said she told the investigator the exact same story she has given to Agitation Rising. She and Brown both voluntarily went down to the normal police station in separate vehicles. Davis said she spoke with a detective whose name she did not remember. She told the detective the exact same story she told the fire investigator and Agitation Rising. Davis says she was never asked to give her phone over to detectives. And did you allow him to search your phone?
He didn't ask.
Okay. So you never gave your phone to him at all?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I did not.
She also did not see or hear the arrest of Taylor Brown the same night. In the now viral video of Brown's arrest, you can hear Brown asking Officer Cunningham if Davis had to turn over her cell phone.
So the fire is going to be under investigation and your phone's going to be seized. Is she? Yes, everybody's phone's being seized.
Cunningham says yes, but the police are allowed to legally lie to you. Davis says Officer Cunningham gave her a ride to a friend's house to spend the night. The next day, Davis was allowed by the Normal Fire Department to obtain some items from her residence. However, Brown, her Chicago police detective mother, and a male were also at the house collecting things. Davis says she was upset that NPD officers allowed them to both be present at the same time. Within a few days, Brown did in fact go on her trip to Puerto Rico. In a TikTok video under the handle The Female Future LOL, posted on March 2nd, 2023, presumably after she returned from the U.S. island territory, Brown blames an unnamed person for canceling their Airbnb. Brown had to pay for one on her own. It says, quote, "Nah, girl, we not cool. You stole $500 from me, told your boyfriend my business, canceled on a trip planned for 3 months, 5 days before, canceled the Airbnb, leaving me with nowhere to stay when I went, making me get with whole new Airbnb, lied about the situation for sympathy from people you talked about, had sex with your quote-unquote soulmate, homie, 3 times after saying he quote-unquote forced you, the first time costing them their friendship, lost my AirPods, and said it's not your fault. Pulled a knife on me because I was yelling at you because you were supposed to be my friend doing all this to me, called the police on me, and still don't think you wrong because you quote-unquote depressed." Meanwhile, the other 3 women were homeless.
That's been an issue. Like, we were homeless for about 2 to 3 weeks because of the situation, because like I said, it's like the middle of the semester. So it wasn't a lot. And then I didn't have the funds to up and like at all. Like, I had barely anything in my bank account. And like, we're still recovering from this situation, and that's what really sucks, because like we found a place that was going to work with us, and they let us stay here for discounted amount because of the fire. But it's like, we're going to have to do this all over again in May. We're going to have to find somewhere else to live in May.
Davis has not received any follow-up from either the Normal Fire Department or the Normal Police Department.
I don't understand how she's not under arrest.
When asked what she thought of the body cam footage released last week by Agitation Rising, Davis said she cried. And so what did you think when you saw those videos?
Honestly, no shade to you. I was kind of pissed. I was not kind of pissed. I was upset. When I had got off work, she sent me the video. She was like, look, blah, 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 they released the video. And I pulled over the car, and I was just bawling. And I was not crying because, Taylor been through the situation. I was crying about the fact that, she's about to sue Norman Police Department. They're coming after this cop that I truly feel just did her job.
Davis chose to speak out after over a month because she saw Miss Brown becoming the victim. Davis says the real victim is Z.
She's a really sweet girl. She's non-confrontational. Like, if she can avoid conflict, she will.
On the other hand, Davis describes Miss Brown as a narcissist.
It triggered me because, like, that's how she acted on a day-to-day basis. Like, she would be so mean and she would be so rude. And then when you would come to her and try to check her and try to get her to be accountable, she started playing the victim. But seeing how, like, the video got released and it's been going viral, and seeing how, like, everybody is siding with her, like, I can't sit here and say that what she went through wasn't traumatic in the police station. I can't at all. The only thing I can speak on is the fire. I was upset about the video, but like, if I don't know how it goes when it comes to seizing a phone, if they're supposed to have warrant, I don't know how any of that goes, so I can't even speak on that.
Whether these allegations are true or not has no bearing on whether Brown's phone was illegally seized and she was illegally arrested. Both allegations can be true at the same time. Brown has Fourth, Fifth, and Sixth Amendment rights, regardless of what actions she allegedly committed. The fact Brown was later released from jail with no charges lends credence that the seizure and arrest were unlawful. As we've previously reported, the action to seize Brown's phone was likely an attempt to coerce Brown into providing an interview with the detective without an attorney present. The town of Normal has refused to comment. Normal Police Chief Petrilli did not return a request for comment. The McLean County State's Attorney's Office also did not return a request for comment. Brown's attorney, Abby Bacos, has also not returned follow-up calls from Agitation Rising. Taylor Brown's lawsuit alleges that NPD, quote, attempted to obtain a search warrant to search Miss Brown's cell phone, but the warrant was not approved by the state's attorney. In a previous interview with Miss Bacos, she confirmed to Agitation Rising that this information came from Brown's mother, who contacted the state's attorney while Brown was still incarcerated. To be clear, Taylor Brown has not been charged with any crime as of the publication of this article. Should she be charged, she is innocent until proven guilty. The town of Normal has refused to release any information regarding the fire, stating it is an ongoing investigation, and release of information could jeopardize said investigation. The town of Normal has not publicly named Taylor Brown as a suspect in any investigation. That's all for today's report. Thank you all for watching. Keep agitating, keep rising, and we'll see you on the other side.